Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So either the person gets apekshika amrtatvam, means freedom from rebirth till the end of the kalpa. We saw that quotation from Vishnu Purana, abhuta samplavam sthanam amritatvam iti uchyate bhashyate. Samplava means dissolution, flood, deluge. So until the end of the kalpa, until everything resolves, that person is got like a apekshika amritatvam, temporary freedom, cessation of rebirth. After that gets recycled back into the warehouse of rebirth and all that. Or what happens? Kalantarena mukhyam amritam ashnute, meaning in course of time gets amritatvam, which is not apekshikam, gets moksha. Where? In Brahmaloka. How? After enjoying all the wonders of Brahmaloka and having taught by Brahmaji, is released forever from the cycle of birth and death and sorrow, of course. And then for the rest of the people, some other gati is talked about. Who are the rest of the people? Samsara bhajaha, people who are interested only in samsara, who haven't had enough. Even after so many lifetimes, they'll say, I want to be born again. And some people come and say, will you please be my guru in my next life? So like that. So they have a desire to be born again because they haven't overcome they haven't overcome samsara, because they haven't understood the limitations of samsara. So then what happens for them? Vishwang nana vidhagatayah anyaha nadyah utkramane nimittam bhavanti samsara pratipatyartha eva bhavanti. Yeah. So samsara pratipatyarthaha eva bhavanti. So what happens here? Vishwak means in all directions. Nana vidha gatayah, various kinds of yonis, various kinds of births, various kinds of deaths, various kinds of gatis. This loka, that loka, every other loka. 7 up, 7 down, so many lokas are there, and then they can be born anywhere. Don't think I'm a human being this time, next time also I'll be a human being according to Darwin. We are not talking of Darwin. We are talking of Shastra, where this is not about science, this is the karma, where karma wins. And so then what happens? So going through these various other meridians, the prana gets ready for coming back, becomes the nimitta, utkramane nimittam, becomes instrumental in rebirth. Utkramana means rebirth. So samsara pratipatyarthaha eva bhavanti. So then any other nadi through which the prana goes out becomes instrumental in what? In the cause of the repeated cycles of birth and death. So they become the cause of birth, rebirth, etc. again and again, where in that same samsara itself the prana keeps ascending back to newer body forms. That is the idea. So this is more of a conclusion about what happens to people who do the Nachiketagni along with Virata Upasana. For those who do only Upasana, what will happen? Apekshika Nityatvam. So for those who do upasana and karma, what will happen? Brahma loka prapti, or some swarga, Brahma, all these things. And for those who do neither and they are not even committed to understanding Brahman, what happens? They repeatedly come back into samsara. The Upanishad could have well ended here, but it continues one more verse, because Yama doesn't want to leave it at a sad note of people coming back and back and back in samsara. That's not a way to conclude. Even if that were the truth, we have to focus on what is the truth of the person, which is the cause for freedom, not that which is the cause for rebirth. So therefore, there is concluding every other valli, all the vallis, this verse is given. What is that? Idanim sarva valli artha upasamharartham aha. Who aha? Yamaha aha. Angushthamatrah purushontaratma sada jananam hridaye sannivishtah tam swacharirat pravrihen munjat iva ishikam dhairyena tam vidyat shukramamritam tam vidyat shukramamritamiti. Yeah. Again, this you will feel that it is familiar. Angushthamatrah purushah madhye atmani tishtati ईशानो भूतभव्यस्य न ततो विजुगुप्सते एतत् वैतत्. Yeah. So, first valli, second chapter, 12 and 13. Yes? No? Maybe? Yeah. So, that is where we have seen this. Angushta matra purusha. Matra means parimana, meaning it is the size. So you can't imagine all pervasive Brahman sitting in the heart, because then you will get worried. The heart is going to explode. What is the size of the heart? The fist. And what will fist? The fist is the size of the heart. What will fit in the fist is the thumb. Yeah, this is the size of the heart. So thumb-sized baby Purusha. You know, the indweller of this body mind sense complex is visualized and is understood. It's also not only a visualization but an aid for Atmajnanam. Angushthamatraf Purushaha Madhye Atmani Tishtati. And then what? Ishanah, the ruler, the Lord. Bhuta Bhavyasya Natato, and knowing which Natato Vijugupsate. Knowing which one feels not at the mercy of elements and other people, nothing to protect. So becomes free of wanting to protect anything at all. So then that was told, and here just to recall that the same thing is talked about with a little bit of a difference. The first line is all identical. So Angushta Matraf Purushaha. So Adi Shankara doesn't even bother to explain it, because it was already explained at length. The heart is like a fist, and what fits in the fist is a thumb. So the Purusha is like a thumb, and then seated here, Antastishtan Yamayati, controls everything within and without. So same thing, this Purusha, this Ishvara, Angushthamatraha, Sun, in the form of that which is the indweller of the body mind sense complex. Where is it? Sada Jananam Hridaye, Sannivishtaha, seated, ensconced in the heart of all the beings. All of the beings. Okay, ensconced in the heart of all the beings. And then, what else does it say? Tam Purusham. That Purusha, what one has to do? Svat Sharirat Pravrihet. So one should Pravrihet means pull out. pull out this Purusha. How? Dhairyena. Dhairya usually means courage, but here it means dhirasya bhava, dhairya, meaning with discrimination, carefully. With care and discrimination, one should pull out this Purusha. What do you mean, pull out this Purusha? This looks like it is just like, what is that, First of all, can you see the Purusha? No. You can just see the heart where the Purusha is seated, but you don't see the Purusha. So if I can't see Bhagavan, how can I pull out the Purusha from the heart? Swacharidat, from the body. This sounds like a violent practice, even though it may seem spiritual. This is something funny. No, it is a figurative and a cognitive shift. Swat Sharirat means the pull out what? Not the Purusha. Pull out the identification of the Purusha with the body, mind, sense complex. That is what you pull out. That is what you separate. Pravrihet. That is what one has to separate. Because the Purusha is not recognized as Purusha. Why? Because it is in one's understanding enmeshed as the body, as the mind, as the senses. So the Purusha, of course, lights up the body-mind-sense complex without, quote-unquote, becoming the body-mind-sense complex. By its mere presence, it blesses. But this is Atmani Anatma Adhyasa. In the Atma, what do I make a mistake? I mistake the Atma for Anatma. This is one kind of Adhyasa discussed in the Brahma Sutra. So the other kind we are very familiar with. Anatmani Atma Adhyasa. In everything that is not I, which is in everything that is finite, I look for the infinite. This we are familiar with. This is a common mistake. But the other mistake is also equally common, for which we need Panchakosha Viveka, Avasthatraya Viveka. All these different prakriyas are deployed to not make this mistake. So what is that? What is the common mistake? In every object, I mistake that object to be forever. I mistake the person that will be in my life forever. I mistake the thing forever. So everything, because I want forever and I don't know that I am the one that is forever, so I look for objects that are finite and look for the forever in those objects. This is one mistake. Anatmani, in everything that is Anatma, I mistake it to be Atma. I mistake it to be permanent. I mistake it to be the object of Ananda. So when I mistake the whole Jagat to be the Atma, then what happens? I look to pull out Ananda from the Jagat. So like squeezing a stone, a small pebble, and expecting olive oil to come out of it. That is what the Jagat can give, no matter how hard you squeeze. Then you will need somebody to massage your hand because you have squeezed the pebble too hard. So now this is the understanding here, is that Munjad Ishikam Iva. There is an example which is there in the Kathopanishad, also same exact example. Munjad Ishikam Iva Drishya Vargat Pratyancham Atmanam Anantam Avyayam. So Munjad Ishika. Munja is a grass which is used to ordain the person who is studying the Veda. It is called Maunji Karanam, from Munja only, Tadhita word. Maunji Karanam. And also the ceremony itself in vernacular languages is called Munji. So this, because of this Munja grass. Now they wear a thread. Before what was it? These grass shoots were tied together into a grass garland type thing, which was worn across the body. This was the sacred thread ceremony initiating the child into the Veda study. So that is the Munja. So now the Munja cannot be worn just like that because it has the blade which is very sharp. One can cut the hand also. So therefore the shoots called Ishika, the shoots have to be carefully removed from the blade of grass without cutting your hand or without cutting the shoot, breaking the shoot. The shoot needs to be full, and then the hand also can be preserved. So you imagine how much mindfulness and care we need to pull out the ishika, this shoot of the grass from the munja, the blade. So you can imagine how much care it needs. So with the same kind of care, we remove all the non-atma identifications. Meaning the second form of adhyasa. What is the second form of adhyasa? Atmani anatma adhyasa. So the mistaking the I to be finite. First, what was the first mistake? Mistaking the world to be infinite. First mistake. Second mistake, mistaking the self to be finite. Seeing anatma where atma is. So thinking that atma is as good as the body. Dehoham. Then pranaha aham. I am the mind, I am the body, I am the senses, I am the sum total of my hurts, I am the sum total of my achievements, I am the sum total of my kartritvam. I am as good as what other people think me to be. I need validation. I need to be better. So I need to study more. I need to do this more. I need to do that more. All these things. All these things I have to do. And so therefore, this is the problem. And this being the problem, we have to make sure both the mistakes are taken care of. So the first mistake, in fact both the mistakes are taken care of by Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. The first mistake to drop is to see in the anatma atma. The first mistake is what? Mistaking the world to be infinite. That is the first one to drop, because that it can be clearly shown. In one class you can show that how everything is finite, except the one who says everything is finite. In one class, that atma anatma viveka can be easily taught. But the second mistake can take some time to resolve. Why? Because it has to do with things intimately connected to the person, to this atma. There are certain things the atma obtaining as the indweller, upadhi avachinna chaitanya. So this chaitanya, that is endowed as it were with the body mind sense complex. What happens? Because of ajnanam, this chaitanya associated as it were with the body mind sense complex, the person takes the body mind sense complex to be the self and concludes that the self is mortal, the self is sick, the self doesn't have money, the self is as good as the body, all these things. So the second type of adhyasa takes some time to resolve because of the enmeshment. So the enmeshment with the other world, outer world, is easy to see. Nobody says I house. Does anybody say I house? No. But the same person who will laugh at you when you say I house will say I body easily, because the body is also like the house, correct? Both should be my house. This also my house, that also my house. But there my house, but then inside what? I house, I body. So if anything happens to the body, things happen to me. So if supposing you don't want anybody to touch you, you will say, to touch the body, you will say what? Don't touch me, don't come near me. So in this way, we see that the second kind of identification, due to the various loci of error, various places that one can make a mistake, it takes some time to resolve. And for that, manana nididhyasana is very, very important, especially nididhyasana. We have already had verses of nididhyasana. So this is upasamhara. This is the conclusion. And in concluding this, Lord Yama says, make sure he doesn't mention the first mistake. Why? Because that's already gone. First mistake is easy. Thinking the world to be Atma, thinking objects outside of myself to be Atma is easy to understand, it's not. But thinking that whatever is within this body mind sense complex is me alone, that takes a little bit of time to resolve. So here a upaya is given. Just like this was, see, for us this is a strange activity. Blade of grass, shoot of grass, who sits, who even knows where grass is? There is all concrete jungles everywhere. Who has put their feet in the grass and sat down or chewed a little bit of grass? All that is gone now. And so this was in the time where people were very much connected to the land. They knew what all it was, and nothing was harmed. Even for this Munja ceremony, we had to do a prayer and ask the permission of the grass, can I please cut you for this offering? This is the first prayer, this is the first mantra of the Yajurveda. Ishetvar jetva bhagyavastho bhagyavastha, etc. That is the first prayer. Ishe, oh dear grass, you are addressing the grass as a living being. This is the beauty of this. I need you for this purification. I need you for this offering. Can I please cut you? You who give all this to us, can I please cut you? This is how the ancient thing was. For them, all this was every day. It was an organic culture in ancient times. Now it is not. And so for us this example may not work, but for them this example, for the ancient ones, this example is very, very pertinent, because this was an everyday action of separating the grass and the shoot and offering the shoot for the yajna and for the munja ceremony, etc. So then this pravrihet means separating cognitively. Separating that the cognitively and knowing through nididhyasana that the body is mine, all right, but I am not this body. I is not this body. I is not this mind. So in the Mundakopanishad it says Munjad Ishikamiva Drishya Vargat. Drishya Vargat means from the everything that can be objectified. The host of things that can be objectified. You pull out this identification. Pull out means not literally pull out the shoot from the shoot from the grass. Figuratively, you pull out of the identification. No longer do you subscribe to the identification. No subscription to the identification. So you don't subscribe to the identification. What is the identification? I am as good as this. No. So, therefore, here also with the same care as pulling out the shoot from the grass without hurting yourself, dhairyena, with discrimination and mindfulness, svat sharirat, from one's own body, pravrihet, pull it out. And then that which is left, what is left? When you pull out all the identifications, what is left? Brahman, Purusha. Here described as what? Purusha. So, tam vidyat shukram amritam, and know that which is left after pulling everything out. What is left is this Purusha, this inner self, this Purusha, this the ruler of the inner self. Tam vidyat, know that Purusha to be shukram and amritam. Shukram means free of papa punya, free of jara mrityu, old age, death, and free of vikara, nirvishesha, free of attributes, nirvikara, free of modifications. Know this Purusha to be Shukra. Shukra always means clear, pure, untouched by anything, like a lotus, untouched by anything from samsara. And then Shukram, and what else? Vidyat, Amritam. Please know this Brahman, this Purusha, after having removed the identification with everything that is impure. Body is impure because it is made up of 5 elements subject to decay. Mind is impure because it has raga dveshas. Senses are impure because they are finite and they are subject to decay as well. So the only thing that is upholding the body mind sense complex is pure, and that is nirupadhikam Brahma, the Brahman that is free of the upadhi called the body, mind, sense complex. Because anything that is an upadhi, a conditioning factor, a container which is the receptacle for Brahman to express itself, is always fraught with finitude, because it is part of Drishya Varga, it is subject to decay, it is subject to Kshara, it is subject to Marana, it has Marana Dharma. Whereas Brahman, which supports this whole universe, which supports every name and form, is untouched by the form that it illumines. It's untouched by the name and form that it broadcasts, that it amplifies, that it supports, so to speak. So even while living in this body mind, staying in this body mind sense complex, the Purusha is not affected by the limitations of the body, the sorrow of the mind, and the vikara, the modification of the senses. Just like the sugar bottle in the kitchen staying next to chili pepper bottle does not lose its sweetness. Why? Samsarga dosha is not there. We already saw that earlier. Samsarga dosha is not there for Atma. The fallacy of picking something up from somebody else is not there. Like you see, let's say a few people go on an outing and one of them is a killjoy, like, and doesn't change also. You keep making jokes. Cheer up, come on, look how day is so nice. Look at the Ganga, just a lovely day for a walk and just go somewhere. Let's just do that. We have killed ourselves 3 classes a day. Let's relax. Whole time they are like that, okay? They are like a wet rag. Whatever you propose, they will say neither yes, nor they will say no, nor they will participate, nor they will get up and go. Okay? So this is the So being one of this, being one of the party which has this kind of a candidate in it, what do you feel like enjoying? No, you also feel like, oh my God. And then so if 5 people have gone, then one person is like this. By the end of the trip, all 5 are like that. Long face, sad face. This is called samsarga dosha. If you are with a killjoy, all your joy is also what? Killed. Yeah. If you are with a spoil sport, you have no krida possible. Anything that you do, yeah. After all, it's finite. They'll bring in some selective Vedanta also. Yeah. Yeah, you go ahead, enjoy finite things, yeah. Yeah. So, this is samsarga dosha. Being in association with them, you feel like, oh my God, I am all wrong. What's wrong with me? Suddenly I feel sad. I thought I was a relatively cheerful person, and then now I suddenly feel down. And then after all the goodbyes are said, sadly, and then you separate from them, then you start to feel like yourself again. Yay, yippee, thank God, the rain cloud has gone from the top of the head. You may be like that, but Atma is not like that. You means associated with the body, mind, sense complex. Just like one can get down in a group of people, if one person is just all sad, you can get affected by that. Purusha does not. You means ahankara. Purusha does not get affected by that. Why? Shukram, Shubhram, Amritam is not affected by finitude of the body, mind, sense complex, is not affected by the raga, dveshas of the mind, the vikaras of the sense organs, and the marana dharma, the finitude of the body. It's not affected at all. Because it is Shukra, Shubhra, Amrita, Nirvishesha, Nirvikara, it can populate the entire universe of names and forms as the truth of all of the finite things. The finite things are just shells, they come and go. The infinite is you. This is what ultimately Lord Yama wants to drill in the head before saying goodbye. Bhashya. Angushthamatrah Purushah Antaratma Sada Jananam Sambandhini Hridaye Sannivishtaha Yatha Vyakhyatah. Yeah. Adi Shankara says Yatha Vyakhyatah. This should be understood how it was explained earlier. You may have forgotten that this verse came earlier. I haven't, and I have explained it there. Go to mantra 12, 13, etc. in the second chapter of the first Valli. And then what was said there? Sada Jananam Sambandhini Hridaye. So the heart connected to all the beings, not just one heart, every heart. In every heart, Sannivishtaha. So this is what Adi Shankara says, Yatha Vyakhyatah. So Yatha, exactly how it was explained earlier, same thing applies. There is no difference in meaning. And then Tam Swat Atmiyat Sharirat Pravrihet. Yeah. So Tam Swat Sharirat Pravrihet. Pravrihet means pull out. Some Swat Sharirat Atmiyat Sharirat Pravrihet. Pravrihet means what? Udyachet. 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 Nishkarshet. So all of them pull out, pull out, pull out, separate, pull out, separate. What are we separating? Identification of the Purusha with the body. Identification of the I with the mind. Identification of the I with the sense organs, with the guilt, with the hurt. That identification we are separating. Meaning what? Without the presence of Atma, there can be no sorrow, no grief, no changes, no vikara. But Atma is not subject to the vikaras and the changes. That Atma is myself alone. That is what we are, it's a conscious and strategic disidentification. If it's a total disidentification, then you will be going around saying, whose body is it? I don't know. No. This body belongs to you, but you are not the sum total of this body-mind-sense complex. That kind of a strategic disidentification which has to be carried out with care and mindfulness. Because you can't embrace everything and say, I am as good as this body, and then you start crying. Or you can't say, I'm nothing, and then go off into some kind of a la-la land of dissociation. We already have enough, okay? Yeah. We are enough in la-la land, and so therefore we don't need any more of that. We don't need to say, I'm not anything, I'm not anything. Then what are you then? So, body is mine. Body is connected to me, but I am unaffected by the body because I'm much more than the body. What do you mean you're much more than the body? I am that which abides in all bodies. This is where we have to go. So, mind is of course belonging to me. I as Atma am blessing the mind, but I am much more than the mind. I am the mind in everything. I am the mind of the mind. I am the hearing of the hearing. I am the ear of the ear, the eye of the eye. And that which is not affected by the changes, this kind of a strategic disidentification is called here this nishkarshanam. So this ascertainment, prithak kuryad ityarthaha. Please separate this wrong identification. Kimiva iti uchyate. So how to do this? This is being said. Munjadiva ishikam antastham dhairyena apramadena. Yeah, so here, so how to remove this identification, wrong identification? Just like one takes the shoot from the blade of grass without hurting oneself. Antastham. So in this kind of an identification is an as though removal, because you can't really remove the I from the body mind sense complex. So antastham means that Purusha which is within, that Atma which is within, means it is the innermost and what else? It is the most pervasive and it is the most subtle. These three criterias, using this we have gone in an inner journey. Indriyebhyah parahyarthaha arthebhyascha param manah manasastu para buddhihi बुद्धेरात्मा महान परः महतः परम अव्यक्तम अव्यक्तात् पुरुषः परः पुरुषान्न परम किंचित सा काष्ठा सा परागतिः. This was talked, this was told, but then meaning you go from the gross to the subtle. And then earlier also in the Bhashya we saw Sukshma Paramparyena. So through this parampara of going from the gross to the subtle, to the subtle, to the subtle, to the subtle, you end up in that, you can't go beyond. What is that? I. Somewhere you have to stop this analysis. What if there is another consciousness? Okay, then what will happen? You will need another consciousness to illumine that other consciousness, and then you will be in an infinite regress. So therefore you have to stop at the Atma, and then through this Sukshma Paramparyena, through delineating that which is the innermost, this Ishika here stands for Antastham. This Ishika is the innermost. So Ishika Sthaniya is Atma. Munja is the body, mind, sense complex, the covering. Ishika is Atma. So Ishika Sthaniya, and then what is that? Atma. This Atma, Antastham, Ishikam. So this Antastham Atmanam Dhairyena means apramadena. Apramadena means without any neglect, carefully, without neglect, without making too many mistakes, as it has been given by the Shastra up till now. Use that same thing for Nididhyasanam, use all the tips given in the Shastra earlier, and then tam atmanam tam sharirat nikrishtam chinmatram vidyat vijaniyat shukram amritam yathoktam brahma iti. Yeah, so then tam vidyat. So what is left over? Don't say anything, nothing is left over, because sometimes one makes that mistake. Remove. What is that? Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham. I am not the elements. Na me raga dveshau, na me lobha mohau, mado naiva me naiva matsarya bhavah. And I am not this, I am not this, I am not that. What are you? I don't know. Nothing, I guess. Don't go to that conclusion. Because something is remaining. Something is definitely remaining. Catch hold of that, and that is Brahman. What is remaining? The one who is doing the Prithakkaranam is remaining. The one who is doing the separation is remaining or not? Yes. I'm glad nobody said no. Okay. Yeah. So, yes. The one who says everything is separate is the one that is remaining, and that one has to be known as what? Not connected to, not affected by the ills of the body, the changes of the mind, and the finitude of the senses. Not connected to that. So then, so that means what? That it is myself alone. This is the I that I want to understand, and this is Brahman. So then, with great care one should know, drawn out from the body, sharirat nikrishtam, drawn out of the body. One has to know this drawn out of the body identification. That is what it is. Not really drawn out of the body, sharirat nikrishtam. So drawn out of the identification from the body. What is that? What is that which is left? Chit matram. Just chit alone is left. Chit that does not have any kind of a covering, so to speak, on it. No kosha, no vesha, and nothing there. Shuddha chaitanyam, upadhi rahita chaitanyam jnatva amritam bhavati. So, this is what it is. Upadhi rahitam Brahma. So even while in the Upadhi, this Brahman cognitively, through discrimination, is seen as not sharing the attributes and the finitude and the limitations of the body mind sense complex. This is knowledge. This is what is told. Dvihi vachanam Upanishad samapti artham iti shabdascha. So there is a repetition. Tam vidyat shukram amritam. After that, what is there? Tam vidyat shukram amritam. And then we might say typo. Yeah. Sometimes there is a typo. Same sentence is repeated twice. Or we can say lazy brahmachari, because they used to do with the stencil, each copy had to be there, handmade. So who said in olden days there was no Xerox machines? Xerox machines were in the form of live brahmacharis. They would do all the copying, and sometimes they would get tired, they would just nod off, and then what? Repeat the same sentence again. No. Adi Shankara says this is somewhere else he has said this is brahmachari truti. Truti means this is limitation. This is the brahmachari's problem here. Whoever has copied it, this is not what the Upanishad says. He says that in one bhashya, I forget which. But here, this is the intention of the Upanishad to repeat, because it's all an oral tradition. So how will you know? Second chapter, third or second valli, how will you know? Mantra 3, 2, 2, 3, how will you know? You can't write it. There is nothing to write. It's all retained here. It's just amazing. And so, how will you know that? The only way you will know that the chapter has ended is because it is repeated. The only way you know the Upanishad has ended is because it is repeated. So, even if the student is snoozing, tam vidyat shukram amritam, tam vidyat shukram amritam iti. Oh, okay, we are done. So, Upanishad samapti. So, this is the linga for Upanishad samapti. That the Upanishad is coming to an end. That is the samapti, artham. So for that purpose, dvihi vachanam means dvihi ukti. So the 2 times mention is for that, and the word iti also means thus. End of quotes. The quotes have been closed. Everything has been done. Everything has been taught. There is nothing more to teach. There is nothing more to teach, so we think. Okay, so but there is one more small verse, one more small thing, which is the Shruti herself we can take is concluding the Upanishad. After presenting the Nachiketa, what is the other one? Yama, dialogue. Now the Shruti comes back and then concludes the Upanishad. Because who started? Shruti started. Lord Yama was not there in the beginning. Ushan Havai Vajashrava Saha. Who started that? Shruti is telling. So then naturally Shruti takes the narrative into her hands and is like a Sutradharini, is like a narrator who concludes. So in all Sanskrit plays of ancient times there was one Sutradhara. And his feminine counterpart was also there. I forgot her name. It was not Sutradharini, it was something else. Do you remember? Yeah. So they both would come on the stage first, and they both would give the synopsis of the play with a lot of cliffhangers. They would not give the best parts out. They would just retain that and just give some things, and then they would make it like a dialogue between them. Oh, do you know what happens next? I'll tell you what happens next. Like this, they would do that, and then they would go away, present the play, and in between, if they had to speak on behalf of the characters, they would come back and say, alas, our hero looks like he is dead. He is not really dead, but then they want to give that impression because the last one, it was a cliffhanger. You don't know whether the king has died or not, and the play continues. So here also the Shruti is going to conclude. And what is she going to say? Vidya, there's a connection here. Vidyastutyarthaha ayam akhyayika artha upasamharaha adhuna uchyate. Yes, Lord Yama concluded all right, but Shruti has to conclude. She was the one who started, she is the one who has to conclude. So, like a well knit essay, this has to be, properly with the ends all neatly tied up. It has to be neatly tied up. And so, therefore, what is said? Mrityu proktam नचिकेतोऽथ लब्ध्वा विद्यामेतां योगविधिं च कृत्स्नं ब्रह्मप्राप्तः विरजो भूत् विमृत्युः अन्यः अपि एवं यो विदधाति आत्मा, what is that? Atma eva. Yeah. So yo vidhati atma eva, atmam eva. So yaha evam adhyatma yo vid adhyatmam eva, not atmam eva, adhyatmam eva. Yo vidya vidadhyatma, yo vid adhyatmam eva, evam with adhyatmam eva. So that evam has to go with. Evam with, that's the word. It is separated in the Shruti, so it threw me off, but it is evam with adhyatmam eva. Adhyatmam means this. The one who knows, anyone who knows the self, adhyatmam, oneself, evam with, anyone else, in addition to Nachiketa, also attains Brahman. That is the idea. So, mrityu proktam means what? That which was told by Lord who? Lord Death. Mrityu proktam, imparted by death, the knowledge imparted by death. Atha Nachiketa. So this Nachiketa, having acquired this vidyam labdhva, etam vidyam labdhva, having acquired this vidya, along with what? Yoga vidhim cha, along with the practice. What was the practice? Virad upasana. All this, for the preparatory practices, Nachiketagni, Virad upasana, etc., and also the knowledge, Yoga vidhim cha kritsnam, meaning the knowledge here is complete. The knowledge of the means, the knowledge of the end, it is all very well done. So then what happens? Brahma praptaha, having gained this Brahman, Virajaha abhut. Virajaha abhut means that became free of death, free of samsara, and free of raga dvesha, virajaha. So, and then free of rajas, free of raga dvesha, and then what else happens? And became deathless, vimrityuhu abhut. Virajaha abhut, vimrityuhu abhut. And not only Nachiketa, anybody else listening to this knowledge, anybody else wanting this knowledge, gaining this knowledge, evam with yaha, evam with adhyatmam eva. So adhyatmam eva, evam with, what is, then we have to say the same thing. Vidyam etam praptaha virajaha abhut vimrityuhu abhut. We have to repeat the same thing. So anyone else also who knows the adhyatmam, adhyatmam means the innermost self, the one who knows adhyatma in this manner, what will they also become? They will also become viraja, they will also become vimrityuhu, they will become dispassionate, objective and deathless. Dispassionate means free of sorrow, free of fear. They will also become that. And then, so then what happens? So by all these boons, Nachiketa got the whole instruction. of the yoga, the preparatory means, the accessories of this yajna, and also the fruits of the yajna. And then the story, we cannot leave it hanging. So what happened to Nachiketa? He of course became a jnani. Why? Acharyavan Purusho Veda. He had this Acharya in Lord Yama. So then he became a jnani. How? He became free of raga dvesha and from all the longings, etc. That is virajaha, abhut. And then through the acquisition of this knowledge, etam vidyam labdva vimrityuhu abhut. This is the idea. So let us see the Bhashya. So, Nachiketah atha. Oh, it is not here. Here it is not there at all. Something else is there. So, let me just check here. In both the versions I have, it is not there. Let me see one more version. Hold on. Mrityu proktam. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Mrityu proktam. Yathoktam. Etam brahma vidyam. Yoga vidhim chakritsnam. Samastam. Sopakaranam. Saphalam iti etat. So our little fellow Nachiketa, what happened? Brahma Vidyam labdhva, gaining this Brahma Vidya by a teacher who was the personification of death itself. There is itself an irony that which doesn't go unnoticed, that deathlessness is taught by who? The Lord of Death. Very appropriate, because he knows what is what. So Mrityu Proktam Yathoktam, as it was mentioned where? In the whole Upanishad, Etam Brahma Vidyam, this Brahma Vidya, Yoga Vidhim cha, and the whole Nachiketagni and Virad Upasana, Kritsnam Samastam, everything was given to him. Kritsnam means complete. The knowledge is complete. The preparatory mechanisms is complete. Samastam means sopakaranam, along with all the accoutrements. What all is needed, shamadama, inner accoutrements and outer accoutrements in the form of whatever the bricks and whatever the things to be collected for the yajna. All that was mentioned, saphalam. So what all you get in terms of doing this, in terms of doing the Agni Vidya, what do you get? Brahmaloka, Krama Mukti, that you can get. And if you do this Brahma Vidya, if you understand, what do you get? You get Amritatvam. All this was mentioned along with the accessories, the accoutrements of action, the fruits of this knowledge, everything was mentioned. Then what happens? Nachiketa Varapradanat Mrityoho labdhva Prapya ityarthah Kim Brahma praptah Abhut Muktah Abhavat ityarthah. Yeah. So, Varapradanat means, let us not forget, it is because of Shastra Prasada, it is because of Guru Prasada, it is because of Bhagavat Prasada, and finally Atma Prasada. 4 kinds of anugrahas are talked about in the gain of this knowledge. 4 kinds of blessings. First is the blessing of Bhagavan, because we have gained this body and this mind to study this, for which we are extremely grateful. We have gained this body mind sense complex, for which we are terribly grateful, extremely grateful. And then what else do we have? We have the second anugraha in the form of Guru. Guru Prapti is a great anugraha. Guru has been gained, but many people, they gain the Guru all right, but they don't know what to do with the Guru. They put the Guru on the shelf with all the other artifacts and dust him or her regularly, because they don't know how to make use of the Guru, or they use the Guru as a life coach. What shall I wear today? I'm having a hard time. This kind of a thing. So they don't know what to do that. Therefore, Shastra Anugraha should be there. The Shastra has to bless by revealing herself as the truth of oneself and as that which needs to be studied via the Guru. This is Shastra Anugraha. So, being with the Shastra, exposing oneself to the Shastra, what happens? One knows the truth. And so therefore, the Shastra Anugraha, the Shastra has to bless me, and I have to understand. Whatever is said, whatever is told, I have to understand. For that, my own notions, my own ideologies, my own wrong understanding has to be at least suspended, if not swept aside immediately. Has to be suspended for the time that I am listening. And then, so that is Shastra Anugraha. And then finally, Atma Anugraha. What is Atmavara, Atma Prasada? Atma Anugraha means I allow myself to let go. I allow myself to let go, and I allow myself to be free. I allow myself to be free. I allow myself to not go into samsara repeatedly, even after being told I am Brahman. Finally, I let myself gain this knowledge with Shraddha, etc. So this is Varapradanena, Mrityoho Varapradanena, by the Guru, who is also the Lord here, Lord Death, Guru here, Labdhva Prapya Ityarthaha. Kim, what did he get? Brahma Praptaha Abhut, Muktaha Abhavat Ityarthaha. So he became Brahma Praptaha. Brahma Praptaha means the one who has gained Brahman. He became one who has gained Brahman. What happens when you gain Brahman? Moksha. You are free. Katham Vidya Praptya Virajah Vigata Dharma Dharmah Vimrityuhu Vigata Kama Avidyascha San Purvam Ityarthaha. Yeah, so he became Virajaha, means free of dyads. Very nice understanding by Adi Shankara. Free of various kinds of dyads. What are the dyads? Dharma, adharma, papa, punya, then life and death. And then what else? Nitya, anitya, all these things. Ushna, shita, heat and cold, life and death. All these things became free. Vimrityuhu. And that is the daily death. Getting caught up in samsara, which is full of dyads. So became free of opposites, raga, dvesha, all that he became free of. He transcended all of them and got to the vantage point of himself as Brahman, that is overlooking all the dyads without getting affected by them or participating in them. Vimrityuhu. And then what is Vimrityuhu? Vigata Kama Avidyacha. So that from whom Kama and Avidya have departed. Kama, desire, Avidya, the source of Kama. Avidya means self-ignorance, which is the source of Kama, has departed from whom. That is what Nachiketa became. And then, we can conclude from this. So what? This is the story of who? Nachiketa. And who? Lord Yama. Good for them. They had a very nice bonding. And then the bonding that led to Mukti. Good for them. Yay. No. This is pertinent to you. Why? Na kevala Nachiketaha. So, na kevala Nachiketaha eva. Not just Nachiketa. Anyaha api Nachiketavat. Whoever is like Nachiketa. And who is like Nachiketa? Everybody in this room. Yes. Why? Because you have come regularly. Well, not so regularly, you may be thinking, but still. You may be thinking that, but still. You have shown up day after day, week after week, month after month. It's not easy. It's not easy. So there are some similarities with Nachiketa because you have showed up. You have showed up like Nachiketa, and you can't show up and just fake it. Okay, attendance is compulsory, the list of rules says. So I'll just go plonk myself and sit there. It's not so easy. Yeah, you will feel like running away. So therefore, that means that there is some jignasa there. There is some desire to learn. And battling with all kinds of things one may be. Inner demons of raga, dvesha, so many things may be there, but still overpowering all that is the jignasa, desire to learn. So all of you are what? Nachiketa vat. Just like Nachiketa, all of you are. So na kevala Nachiketa, not just for Nachiketa, anybody who is Nachiketa vat, who is what? Atmavit. Nachiketavat Atmavit, the one who knows the Atma. But I don't know the Atma. Of course you know the Atma. You cannot say after 3 months of intense study here that you don't know the Atma. Yes. You can say that, but don't say which ashram you are coming from, okay? Keep that a secret, okay? So they certainly don't say I am coming from Dayananda ashram and I don't know Atma. Don't say that in the same sentence, okay? Yeah. So you do know the Atma. No, but I have doubts, I have vagueness, I have all kinds of fears, I have all this. That may be there. It's a knowledge that may be riddled with doubts. It's a knowledge that may be riddled with vagueness, riddled with mistakes even. But you cannot say, I don't know the Atma. Then what should I say? I am in the process of knowing. Say that. That is honest and that is the reality as well. So, like that, Atmavit, the one who knows the Atma, anybody who is Nachiketavat will get all the goodies that Nachiketa got. Will get all the goodies. So, Atmavit means Adhyatmam eva nirupacharitam pratyak swarupam prapya, gaining it as oneself. So, gaining it as oneself and gaining the Atma as the innermost, say the other two things, innermost, what else? Yeah, most pervasive, most interior and most subtle. And Nirupacharitam means not in any other form than its true nature. So then, Pratyak Swarupam Prapya, having gained this in whichever form it has been taught, having Pratyak Swarupam Prapya, Tattvameva. Tattvameva means in reality how it is, that is how Prapya, gained in that manner, iti abhiprayah. That is the intention of the Shruti. Na anyad rupam pratyak rupam. If you know it in any other form, that is, what are you knowing? Anatma, not Atma. So, tadevam adhyatmam. That is alone the innermost. Any other form, if you know the Atma as something, bright light streaking across the sky, that is not Adhyatma. That is not centered on I. So the Atma must be known as Adhyatma, that which is centered on I. So Atmanam adhikritya tishtati. That is Adhyatma. That which is centered on the I, only the Atma has to be known. Atma is not something else hanging on the tree or streaking through the sky like a comet which comes once in so many 100 years. No. Atma is you. That which you say is centered on this I is the Atma, and there is no other form for it. Tad evam adhyatmam evam ukta prakarena yaha veda vijanati yaha vetti. So the one who knows this in this manner, that has been said, evam vit, the one who becomes evam vit, that one also saha api virajassan brahma prapya vimrityuhu bhavati iti vakya sheshaha. We have already done that. We have taken whatever happened to Nachiketa and applied it to all the people who are like Nachiketa. Who are all the people like Nachiketa? All of us. Yes, all of you are like Nachiketa. So, Brahma Prapya Virajaha Abhut Vimrityuhu Abhut. Just like how he became free of death, free of all raga, dvesha limitations. For you also, the same thing happens. The same thing is going to happen. Iti Vakya Sheshaha. And then, is there one more sentence there? Yeah, is that there? Yeah. In one of the versions it's here, and in one of the versions it's not there. Yeah. So Shishyacharyayoho Pramada Kritani Anyena Vidyagrahana Pratipadana Nimitta Dosha Prashamana Artha Iyam Shantihi Uchyate. Yeah. So Shishyacharyayoho. So the pramada, mistakes done by the Shishyas. In what? Apprehending the Vidya. And why will the poor Shishya make a mistake in learning? Because the Acharya has made a mistake in teaching. Because what? Acharya is what? Fallible. Shishya is what? Fallible. And even though its parampara is infallible, there could be small trutis, mispronunciation, and breaking the sandhi wrongly. So many times we have done that. And then what else? Breaking the sandhi rightly, but breaking it in wrong places, so that the Shishya can repeat. We will break it where it should not be broken. We will break it so that the Shishya can repeat. So all these are pramadas, mistakes. So then because it is mistake ridden, because we have been together for so long, making happily so many mistakes, these are the known mistakes, but think of all the unknown mistakes. OMG, so many mistakes we don't even know we have made. So we do a shanti for all of them. Iyam shantihi uchyate. So we do upashamana. We atone for our mistakes as Acharya, as Shishya. We atone for those mistakes by chanting what? The Shanti mantra. One more time we chant, so that all the mistakes are relieved and we are not burdened with the effects of those mistakes. And most importantly, by chanting the Shanti mantras, we do not repeat the mistakes. Yeah, next time we study another Upanishad, or next time we study the same Upanishad, we do not repeat the same mistakes. To absolve oneself of the mistake and to atone for the mistakes and to not repeat the mistakes, we will chant the Shanti mantra. Which one is that? Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Let this teaching be flowing like the Ganga, ever flowing like the river, and never coming to an end. So in that spirit we start again. Ushan Havai Vajashravasah Sarva Vedhasam Dadau Tasyah Nachiketa Nama Putra Asa. To be continued. Don't come back at 11 o'clock. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari